Welcome to Second Edition. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I'm Seth Shulak.
And I'm Katie Wallace. Today we go over the event that inspired many young girls to be in the trades program.
We also take a look at a neighborhood that celebrates the holiday of Christmas like no other.
With the Canada Postal Worker Strike now in its second week, charities are feeling the effects. Edmonton charities are worried about the current Canada Postal Strike, as this also impacts them, which could then impact many people in need. Charities such as the Edmonton's Food Bank has already been affected.
Right now, we have about 200,000 festive brown bags sitting in their warehouses right now, waiting to be, delivered to those 200,000 homes for donations for Edmonton's Food Bank.
The Edmonton's Food Bank, along with many other charities, encourage people to donate online or by phone to continue to support those in need amidst the strike.
The Jill of All Trades has happened last week at Nate's Gymnasium, and over 800 young girls from different high schools came to take a look. Many high school girls in Edmonton have checked out the event to explore future job opportunities in the trade industry and make meaningful connections in it as well.
Jill of All Trades is important because it gives a lot of exposure to girls that are interested in pursuing a career in trades. And in trades, we are having a really high demand for more workers. So this gives the girls an opportunity to see what their potential futures could look like.
The Alberta workforce is expected to have a shortage of over 30,000 workers by 2025. The program aims to be inclusive of people of color and LGBTQ. The event will be held again in 2025.
NAIT students went on a cultural tour right here on campus.
Bandix are a scone-like Scottish bread made from simple ingredients.
Multiple workshops and events were held at NAIT last week as part of the Destination Global Week. Participants learned how to create an inclusive environment about other cultures and even tried cultural foods.
It's important for Indigenous students to feel seen, not just within the space of the Nisula Kamachan Center, but again across campus. And that's part of NAIT's commitment and part of the Connecting the Four Directions strategy is that we need representation. We need to celebrate the culture as well.
Destination Global is part of NAIT's commitment to creating inclusive campus and growing students' intercultural knowledge. To find more information on NAIT's commitment to intercultural diversity, visit the NAIT website.
Candy Cane Lane has opened up last weekend for people to check out. The community of Candy Cane Lane has been going strong since 1968, and people living there have still embraced the holiday by decorating their homes with flashing, colorful lights.
We're going to celebrate by coming out on the lane on the open street nights and walking down with family and friends, just enjoying the Christmas spirit and taking it all in.
You can buy tickets for sleigh riding for $25 per person, and the event will go on until January 3rd.
After the break, we will have an interview about the rising concern of homelessness in Edmonton.
That is right, and we will also go over a new campaign that increases menstrual supplies for students at NAIT.
Edmonton's transit system is one of the services that Edmonton's homeless population uses for safety and shelter.
Our Taylor Winnie Hughes talks to the president of Edmonton's Transit Union to get his insight how both transit workers and Edmonton's homeless need support.
I'm Taylor Winnie Hughes with Second Edition. I'm here outside Edmonton's Amalgamated Transit Union 569 building to talk to their president, Steve Bradshaw. Bradshaw's been in transit since '91, so he can give us some insight on people sheltering in bus stations and how that affects transit workers and users.
What you're talking about is probably a 3 or 4 headed monster. We're in negotiations right now, and two of our very biggest issues in negotiations, one is disorder in the transit system. It just seems to hang in there. We can't seem to get a grasp of it. And part of it is going to be, I guess, finding a way to get the city, the employer, and the general population to understand that transit is not an appropriate place for housing unsheltered people. They have to do better than that, or they're failing those people. Honestly, it's easy for us to see them and us, and it's not them and us, it's all of us.
Do you think the city is doing enough to minimize issues with transit and sheltering?
We work closely with the councillors to try and solve problems with that, and with the transit administration as well. And council has gone beyond its mandate in trying to serve the unsheltered people in Edmonton. We really appreciate their efforts, but where they're not getting the support is from the other levels of government.
Is there anything that you think transit could improve on to make it more safe?
There's one thing I would point to, and that is a project that the International Union is working on called the Bus of the Future. And what they've done is just thrown out all the plans and just started from scratch to build the bus of the future that's going to be safe for riders, safe for drivers. It's going to have everything that it needs. So,
Is there anything that you think could be done with bus stops and transit centers to minimize risk to anybody in them?
I think they can be cleaner. There can be a better effort to clean those transit shelters. The transit centers and LRT stations tend not to be bad, but some of those bus shelters can be pretty grimy. That just leads everybody's opinion downhill, right? It makes everybody feel like less. So, yeah, better cleanliness, I think, is something that I would really look for.
Thank you for meeting with me, Steve.
You're most welcome. Yeah, anytime.
That was Steve Bradshaw with high hopes for people seeking shelter in transit and for the transit system overall. With Second Edition, I'm Taylor Winnie Hughes.
A new initiative at NAIT is making personal care products accessible to all students on campus.
Our Evelina Zonari has more on the Period Equity Project and the impact facilitators are hoping for.
This is Evelina Zanari for NAIT Second Edition. Period poverty is a growing issue affecting women and gender diverse individuals, especially post-secondary students who already have so many financial burdens. According to the Government of Canada, 1 in 5 individuals who menstruate struggle to afford the personal care products that they require, affecting their overall health and well-being. Today, I will be learning more about what NAIT is doing to help students through a new pilot program advocating for period equity.
I'm sitting down today with Katrina Ferreira, the Executive Director of Student Experience here at NAIT, and Erin Seiko, the Director of Student Success here at NAIT, and we are going to be talking about the Period Equity Project. So can you guys start by giving me an overview of what the project is?
It is a bit of a pilot in terms of just rolling out some product in washrooms, select washrooms across NAIT, to get some data on uptick and as well spread some information and education around period equity. And so it's, I believe, the first pilot of its time, and we're launching it for the next few months, and we're seeing how much feedback we get, if people are really loving it, how much product's taken, to see if we can actually put together a bid to have this as a permanent thing here at NAIT.
So right now we have free period products at 7 washrooms across the main campus. And then we also have free period products at select washrooms at all of our satellite campuses as well. So that's really exciting.
So what is the goal and what results are you guys hoping for in terms of this project?
We want to make sure that we're supporting students in access to materials if they need it. They're not missing school as a result. We know that there's hardships on students, and if this is one less thing that we can do to create some equality on campus, that's why we're doing it.
Are there any resources that students can use to educate themselves and advocate for themselves regarding period equity?
We assume that this pilot project would stem questions and people would be curious as to why and why it's important, and perhaps scan the QR code on the posters in the washroom. There's a beautiful FAQ section on the webpage that talks about why we're putting it in both the women's and the men's washroom, the gender neutral washrooms. Some of the stigmas on the terminology of periods or talking about menstruation is on there, and also some cultural stigmas with that. So if students are interested, student, staff, community at NAIT, they can go onto that landing page and get a plethora of information.
Thank you guys so much for sitting down and talking with me today. This is Evelina Zanari with NAIT Second Edition. See you next time.
Now, time for a little cooking on Second Edition. And Katie, you're taking us to the kitchen to cook one of your favorite dishes.
Yes, I am, Seth. If you love pulled pork, you're going to love this twist. I decided to mix apple fritters with the pulled pork. You don't even want to save dessert for after. Let's take a look. Today we're making pulled pork apple fritter sandwiches. Yes, you heard that right. The first time I ever had this sandwich was at a barbecue with my dad. He sat me down and said, "Trust me." And now I'm asking you to do the same. Let's get cooking.
For the pulled pork, all you're going to need is a bone and pork shoulder, mustard, and the Java Cocoa Spice Rub from Bulk Barn. First, you're going to score your meat in a crosshatch pattern at least 1 inch deep. Then you're going to coat the top and the sides with mustard. Not where it's dripping, but just where it's yellow. Afterwards, you're going to coat the whole thing in the Java Spice Rub. Use as much or as little as you like.
Now that our meat is prepared, we're gonna go throw it in our smoker for 175 for 12 hours. But if you don't have a smoker, if you have a barbecue, if you have a crock pot, that will also work as long as it's low. and slow. And now we're gonna make our apple fritters. These are all the ingredients we're gonna need.
First, you're going to combine all the dry ingredients. 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, and mix well. Then we are going to add 1/3 cup of milk with 2 eggs, preferably no shells in them, and 3 tablespoons of applesauce. Then whisk it all together. Then we are going to peel and dice 1 Honeycrisp apple. Fold in the apples slowly and make sure you don't overmix the batter as it might make the fritters tough. Then in a large pot, we're going to heat up 1.5 inches of oil to 375 degrees. Place 1/4 cup of batter into the hot oil and fry for 2 minutes on each side. Then for the glaze for the fritters, you're gonna mix 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup of milk, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And the meat is finally done half a day later. Woo-wee! Will you look at that? Absolutely stunning. I wish you could smell it. Time to pull it apart. Now we're gonna slice up our donut, place our delicious savory pulled pork on top, and then drizzle some icing and barbecue sauce to finish it off.
And there you have it, a sweet and savory sandwich you would have never expected. With Second Edition, I'm Katie Wallace.
Wow, I gotta say, that was a weird, interesting combo, but still looks delicious nonetheless.
It truly was, Seth. Thank you for joining us on this week's Second Edition.
Keep warm and be sure to tune in for our next show on December 4th.
See you then.